Greetings. Hope you're well. Today I'm going to go off the beaten path, at least for me. Go off the beaten path. I'm sure it's old, tired, tedious hat for any other YouTube content creator out there, but I'm going to do this for the first time. I'm going to share my screen and go through this link, this web page that a friend of mine sent me a few weeks ago. It is the Rolling Stone 50 Worst Album Covers of All Time. Rolling Stone magazine put out a list of their 50 worst album covers of all time. And I thought it was interesting. I did go through the first four or five of them, and I stopped because I thought it would be more interesting to just go through these as I was seeing them as I streamed and shared my screen here. So this could go swimmingly or it could be a total disaster. I'm assuming it will be the latter. Like most of my videos, a total fucking disaster. But I thought, hey, at least I tried. At least I gave it a fighter's chance. So let's do this. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see the covers. And I am going to hopefully be in the top right of your screen. I didn't think it was absolutely necessary to show my grill, but I think some of you are perverted enough to want to see my face. So let me get into it. Let me share my screen with you people. And we'll do this. Now let's see. Now I should be in the top right screen. If I'm not, I think the Earth will not fall off its axis if I am not on the screen. So this is it right here, the 50 worst album covers of all time. From rock to rap to country and beyond, it's an assortment of images that you can't unsee no matter how hard you try. Now, let's remember, this is Rolling Stone, okay? They have been lame for many a year. I can't remember the last time I cracked open a Rolling Stone magazine or read anything they had to say on the internet and gave it any accord or respect. It's Rolling Stone. They suck. But this Gavin Edwards fella, good for him for coming up with this idea because, it's always an interesting idea to get someone's take on what the 50 worst album covers of all time are. Now, I did see a few of these, like I mentioned in the top five, and I was like, okay, I think Rolling Stone is what it is. They know that they have to have a certain attitude and agenda and readership, and so sometimes they annoyingly slip into these crevices of wokeness and political correctness that does get a little boring. But let's go through the list and let's see what they have to say. Maybe the list gets better. As I went through the top, see, I'm already seeing the Beatles Revolver. I don't agree with that. I'm already seeing shit that I don't agree with. Let's go to number 50. Yeah, see, this is one that I already saw. Billy Joel, River of Dreams. Now, I know that this album was painted by his wife, Christy Brinkley. I know this already. I think that's just a fucking low blow. I'm sorry. It's his wife made him a painting. Now, is it the greatest thing ever made? No, but come on, it's a lovely thing. I am not a big Billy Joel fan. Sure, he's got a couple of songs that I enjoy. I kind of actually like Billy Joel the man. I think he's kind of cool, but I've never been a huge fan of his music. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't know that I agree with this. Leave Christy Brinkley alone. It's his wife. She made a very nice gesture, and you're attacking her for it. I think that's a low blow. What do you guys think? I don't know. I think it's kind of lame. Now, this is the one I thought was, excuse me, a little too on the PC side. REO Speedwagon, Nine Lives. Now, the cover is, there are a bunch of dudes sitting in a studio. It's got some sweet ass leopard skin trim on all the sides, and it's got a couple of scantily clad chicks hanging off of them. I mean, it's 1979, y'all. This is what bands did. And it's REO Speedwagon. I mean, would you expect anything less? Would you expect anything less than big, wavy, curly hair and jackets with no shirts on underneath and ladies hanging all over them and what looks to be a puma that somehow wandered in from the zoo crawling around the studio? Would you expect anything less than this epic cheeseball cover? I don't know, man. No, I wouldn't put that on there. Is it goofy? Sure. What does it say here? This cover, however, is the only one to anticipate the ludicrous aesthetics of the Cats musical and combine it with the libido deadening sight of a shirtless Kevin Cronin in white suspenders. Well, I would like to see this writer in a shirtless, standing shirtless in white suspenders. I mean, obviously he'd never do that. But listen, something tells me this writer wasn't around in 1979. I was only a couple years old, but this is what bands did. And again, it's REO Speedwagon. What the fuck do you expect? All right. Oh yeah, I don't know. Chuck Berry, Berry's on top, 1959. I don't know. You gonna attack Chuck Berry of all things? I mean, it came out in the 50s, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's a simple ass image. Excuse me, sorry. Chuck Berry on top. I don't know. I don't know how anyone would focus in on this cover. I don't know. I don't really even have much to say. It is a bit of a boring cover, but worse, yeah, I don't know. Come on. Okay, now this one I agree with, man. This one I totally agree with. Queen the Miracle. Now I'm a huge Queen fan, so I'm very familiar with this cover, and I will heartily agree. This is just the weirdest choice for a cover I've ever seen. It's so dumb. It doesn't even work. I've always looked at this. I remember thinking when I was a kid, looking at this, thinking, how did they determine who got two eyes and who got one? I guess Freddie Mercury obviously is the only one on here that gets to have both of his eyes represented, but it just doesn't work. I mean, it looks like Cyclops fucked a giant eight-eyed spider, and they had this monstrosity of a child. I mean, that's what this looks like. Brian May's hair doesn't match with the others. It's like a huge, yeah, it's a huge coif mistake, a huge fashion mistake. For some reason there's like a fluffy cloud in the background. So what are they floating in the air? What is the fucking message here? I mean, I guess when you think about it, when you when you see this image, I guess it is a bit of a miracle. It's more of a monstrosity. It's more of a turd. And this album is a turd too. This is not good. Sorry. I mean, I'm sure plenty of Queen fans love this album, but I think this is arguably their worst album they ever did. It's got a couple of interesting moments on it. I'm a huge Queen fan. Let me reiterate that. I love Queen, but yeah, I agree. This is my first full-on agreement with this person. Now, this is where I stopped looking at this list. Everything I see after the Coup party music here will be covers that I'm seeing for the first time. Now, this is just a product of bad timing. I remember this coming out, and these guys literally put this cover out months before 9/11. So you see this explosion at the World Trade Center. This came out before 9/11, like just a month or two. If anything, these guys should be, given a slap on the back for having some kind of Nostradamus level of future reading. I mean, how did they do this? That's pretty crazy. It makes you wonder if the FBI interviewed these guys after 9/11 happened. I mean, that's that's some kind of fucking really fucked up vision to post this on your. And it is a bad album cover in its own right. I don't think this guy would have been, or this guy wouldn't have mentioned this in his list. It's just bad luck if you made a provocative photo collage about the iniquities of American capitalism featuring the destruction of the World Trade Center only months before the terrorist attacks that brought that vision to life, right? Yeah, I mean, it happened right before. Well, whatever. I mean, it's it's not a great cover, but also you have to remember that in the 90s and early thousands, like these underground hip hop albums would have these terrible covers anyway. I think people actually go out of their way to collect those covers now. There's just this onslaught of really bad gangster rap covers back then that were really poorly devised and made. And this is just one of them. I don't know. I think it's just bad luck in my opinion. But is it a questionable cover either way? Yeah, probably. All right, so here we go. Here's Wow. That is really bad. You know, I'm surprised that the Yeah Yeah Yeahs would have a cover like this. What the fuck? Is that a mosquito fucking a baby? What is. Wow, I guess that could be any number of. It looks like a Garbage Pail Kid. Do you guys remember Garbage Pail Kids? It was a take on Cabbage Patch Kids. It basically was a dark, violent version of Cabbage Patch Kids. I used to collect Garbage Pail Kids, as it happens. Let's see. South Korean animator Boomsik Shimbe Shim attempted to explain Garbage Pail Kids. Okay. Inflected art for Yeah Yeah's fourth album. In a surreal way, the mosquito's blood sac is glowing through a blazing backlight and throws the bloody caustic effect on the naked boy. Okay, I don't care. Yeah, that's horrible. That's awful. What's this? Oh, the mosquito's holding some. What is that? Like a jar of boogers or something? Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. I don't mind the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, I guess. I mean, I never was a big fan, but I didn't go out of my way to listen to them either. Let's move on. Michael Jackson history. All right. Yeah, I mean, is it creepy to have for Michael Jackson to create and erect a huge statue of himself? Of course it is, but that's Michael Jackson. I mean, would we expect anything less? You know what I'm saying? Uh, is this a dumb cover? Yeah, sure it is. Most Michael Jackson covers were, but I never noticed the bullets he's got draped around. I don't know what he was trying to say with that. Um, yeah, well, it's Michael Jackson. What are you gonna do? Village People Renaissance. I, yeah, see, this is just stupid. This is a horrible inclusion. Let's see what you can judge an album by its cover. Excuse me, sorry. At least some of the time, for example, when you see that the Village People disco icons have rebranded themselves. Yeah, this is completely idiotic. Yeah, I question this writer's ability to be objective when it comes to. I mean, a list of bad album covers, I guess, only could be subjective, I suppose. But come, it's the Village People. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe I could see an argument that they were trying to glom on to some current new wave thing of the time, and that wasn't who they were. But come on, leave them alone. I don't agree with that. What? Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Hard Promises. That's bullshit. What's wrong with this album cover? It's Tom Petty doing some record shopping. I haven't. What? While many of the covers in this gallery are felonies against your eyeballs, at least they're unforgettable. Hard Promises is just dull. Tom Petty was distracted by his right. Yeah, I remember that. Uh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that it's in the top 50 worst of all time. No. I personally could think of a lot worse, but yeah, I guess this is going to be a very subjective list. I don't agree with that one. Metallica 41. Yeah, I have to agree with. I mean, yeah, he mentioned Spinal Tap here, and that's initially what I thought of when I first saw this album back in 1991. I actually thought, well, are they trying to do a Spinal Tapian thing here? And maybe they were. I mean, were they? I don't know. Yeah, I always thought this was a really dopey cover. It's a lot of nothing, but this is Metallica's most iconic album, obviously. I mean, this is the one that everybody knows, so the cover didn't really make much of a difference, did it? But yeah, I remember you can't really see the Metallica here. It's got a really, you know, just a very simple snake down here. It's very simplistic, but obviously they wanted to, maybe that was the contradiction. They wanted a simplistic cover and some very complicated music. And I think if that was their goal, they definitely achieved that because this album is a very good one. But yeah, not the greatest. Okay. Rod Stewart and Old Raincoat Won't Ever Let You Down. Yeah, I've seen this cover before. When I first saw this cover, whenever I saw it, I remember I thought it was Benny Hill. Like it looks like Benny Hill sneaking out of a bush to accost a child, and that's what this cover looks like. And I guess I agree with it. I mean, the title itself. I mean, Jesus, and this is just Rod Stewart in fucking autopilot mode, man. What should we name it? Ah, who cares? Let's name it after a raincoat. Yeah, I mean, just taking out all ambiguity, all artfulness. They just post a dude in a raincoat and then name the album after a raincoat. And this poor kid here had to put up with the rest of it. Yeah, it just does look. It looks like a troglodyte emerging from a crack in the earth to readily accost a child and then sneak back into the bushes and crawl back into the earth. I mean, it is kind of creepy. Yeah, I'll agree with that one. Yeah. Sufjan Steve. Is that how you say that? Sufjan? Is it Sufjan? I don't know. I don't care. Javelin. Um, I, I don't know. It does look very 70s. Um, yeah, the javelin looks like someone spit out their bubble gum and then rubbed their ass all over the ground. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like Jackson Pollock got drunk, vomited on a canvas, and then someone spat their bubble gum all over it. Not the greatest cover. It's obnoxious to the eyeballs. Yeah, that's not a great one. Ooh. Now this is just low-hanging fruit. I mean, this is just too easy, but Brad Paisley, Time Well Wasted. Yeah, it's more like album covers well wasted. Look at this piece of shit. Holy Christ. This is bad. Oh, this is awful. Now we're talking. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah, I mean, do you need to say anything about this one? Oh. I mean, just think about this. Whoever this Brad Paisley character is, you work your whole life to have an album cover. You finally get to the point where you have an album, a record company is willing to put it out, and you get to that point, and you would think that he had some other alternatives for his album cover. Maybe he had a short list of covers, and he looked at all of them. He said, "That's the one. The one where I'm standing there with a mud-covered shirt and a mud-covered guitar with my 50-gallon cowboy hat and some bad Photoshop in the background. That's the image I want to project to the world. That's how I want people to view my art. This. Yeah, this is truly awful." What is he looking at? Oh, that's a clock. Okay, it's a melting clock. Melting on his guitar. Yeah. I don't know what the melting clock. Maybe his relevance in the industry. Maybe that's supposed to represent that. It's quickly melting away. Is this fucker still around? Yeah, terrible cover. I can just imagine what his music sounds like as well. I mean, you look at this cover and you've already heard the album. You know what I mean? But yeah, that is truly awful. That's the worst one yet. Yeah, Beatles Revolver. Come on now. I mean, what does he have to say about this? This cover he designed is a mess. The central notion of the excuse me, but the photo collage mostly sloppy. Yeah, I don't know what his basis is there. Is he an artist himself? I mean, I don't know. Be careful when you're picking on the Beatles, I guess. I don't know. That no. You can't put that in the he put this in here because everyone knows the Beatles and it would spark a reaction, but whatever. That's boring. Okay, now this I agree with. Oh yeah. Black Flag. What the Yeah, this is not only a horrible cover, but it's a terrible album. I don't know, those of you who have ever heard the album, holy shit. It's really bad. And I'm a bit of a Black Flag fan. I mean, I grew up with them, but yeah, this was just bad. Awful. I don't want to, I guess I don't want to go deeply into this because I do respect Black Flag, but this was just a bad idea all around. Cover, music, all of it. One to be avoided. All right, what do we have here? Roger, the many facets of Roger. Stone Cold Classic Funk album. Shouldn't at least one of Roger Troutman's facets involve buttoning up his shirt? No, why should he? No. What's wrong with this cover? It came out in 1981, dude. I mean, this was just commonplace. I mean, I don't know. No, I don't agree with that. Leave the guy alone. It's funny. I mean, there's no question that it's funny. Obviously, this was a photo shoot where they dressed him up in a big gold lame, sparkling sequin suit and asked him to have an attitude and go through the multitude of emotions as a human being, and they photographed him. I mean, come on. I would say funny. I mean, this is a funny cover. It's not a bad cover. There's a difference, I think. Oh wow, George Jones. I want. See again. This is more funny. It's George Jones. I mean, isn't this what you expect? George Jones made an implicit promise to fans. Even if Jones didn't make it to your town for his scheduled gig, at least his bus would, and that was almost as good. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's. I mean, it reminds me of a nightmare I once had. It does look like a nightmare. I'm trying to investigate this album. What's this? Is this like a farm? Somebody's farm over here? I thought it was like airplane wings on a bus or something. I mean, that looks like a farm. So did he just play at a farm? Was there some kind of experimentation going on at this farm that removed his head and enlarged it and put it on the front of a bus? Yeah, that's fucking crazy. And it looks like, look at his face. It looks like he's gritting his teeth a little bit, like maybe he's farting or something. There should have been a little poot at the end of the bus to really hammer this cover home. Oh, come on. Two Live Crew, fuck off. No. No, sorry. As someone who loves this album as nasty as they want to be, this album was huge for me. How is this bad? You got a bunch of women with their asses out. Explain to me how that's bad. These guys appreciated the female form, and they always did, and they sung about it. They sang about it, whatever. This album was legally declared obscene. Yeah, well, so what? That makes it kind of punk rock. That doesn't make it bad. They usually did it in a way that was crass and hacky, much like this album. It was crass and hacky. That was what they were doing, dude. Yeah, he's missing the point. No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's crass and hacky. That's exactly the point. I love it when people are like, it's so crass and hacky. Yeah. You obviously have no appreciation of camp. Because a number of campy album covers have been on this list already. No, no, this should not be. No. Pat Kelly, Lonely Man. See, again, this is a dude with his shirt off, hanging out, being comfortable. This is how he's comfortable. Now, is it cheesy? Sure it is. Let's see. Pat Kelly got dressed up in a sharp orange jacket on his way to photo session on a hot Jamaica day. Decided that nothing said sexy like stripping to the waist, reclining on a random bit of roadside curb, and leaning against a rock. Why not? Have you ever tried it? How do you know? Maybe you'd love it, dude. No. This guy's just hanging out. He's chilling. I don't know. That's not. Yeah, come on. Is it cheesy? Is it corny? Of course. Is it bad? I don't know about that. Okay, now this. I saw Corey Feldman's name and I automatically had to assume it was terrible. This is fucking horrible. Yeah. Angelic to the core. Jesus Christ. What an asshole. Is he fucking. Obviously this is tongue in cheek, but even tongue in cheek has its limits. Feldman has a troubled history as a young victim of exploitation and sexual abuse, so here he sends the strong message that when you're succumbing to your demons and falling into a personal hell, the only route to salvation comes through hot blondes and white lingerie. Yeah, that's horrible. That's really bad. Wow. Really, Feldman? I mean, he's got to be trying. He's has to be trying to be funny here, right? I like these little photoshopped flames here on the end. Well, if that's his vision of hell and if that's his vision of heaven, I mean, Corey Feldman doesn't have anything to worry about. I mean, if hell is just a dark place with a couple of fart flames on either side, and there's a couple of hot models pulling you out of it, then you got nothing to worry about, dude. It's hard to sympathize with old Corey Feldman if that is his future. Yeah, that is horrible, terrible. Ozzy Osbourne, Down to Earth. Yeah, I remember seeing this. This came out in 2001 during that spree of like badly photoshopped album covers. Yeah, this is terrible. Fucking hell. So Ozzy's future, I guess, is being impaled on a cross, and after he was declared anorexic, because yeah, looks like he's missed a meal or two here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he's looking, if he's looking for, I don't know what he's looking for. I mean, if he was looking for an intense image here, he definitely failed. Boy, that is got to be one of the laziest album covers I've ever seen. Yeah, that is bad. That is bad. Yeah, that's Ozzy in autopilot mode, not giving a fuck. Lionel Hampton, Hamp in Paris. Well, I don't know. I don't. Is that bad? What does he have to say? Apparently, went to France to bring on a Technicolor apocalypse where his disembodied floating head would gleefully oversee the city's destruction. It's interesting that he would single this one out. This very random record. Um, it's just the look on this guy's face. You do have to wonder, like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my first view of this is like, okay, whatever. It's odd, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. James Brown reality. Get the fuck out of here. Um, let's see. Speaking of disembodied floating heads held in heralding the apocalypse, in the same year that Sean Connery starred in the disembodied floating head sci-fi movie Zardoz, the Godfather of Soul upped the stakes and committed to a job that nobody asked him to do, giving a troubled nation new nightmares. Come on. Really? You're going to pick on James Brown? I don't know. I don't see it. No. It's James fucking Brown. There's nothing wrong with this cover. Is there? Am I missing something here? Maybe just because I love James Brown. I don't know. Come on. I don't know. More and more floating heads. David Crosby, if I could only remember my name. Yeah, that's Crosby trying to be funny. I guess he's got a disembodied floating head theme going on here. Here's another floating head. David Crosby's terrible. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just never have been a fan. I think he's a blowhard. I think he's a fat fuck. I've never really respected David Crosby's game all that much. I think his albums are shit and his album covers are stupid. And this is just one of those, you know, photos in the 70s that were very prevalent where, you'd walk up somebody's stairway and they'd have a family photo and they'd have all the members of the family's head all juxtaposed and imaged over each other. And that's what this is. Um, yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of boring. I don't know if it's bad, it's just boring. Lil Flip, the leprechaun. Okay. See, again, this just seems like low-hanging fruit to me. I mean, obviously, this guy didn't give a single shit. Um, he couldn't have been taking himself seriously, right? There's just no way. 2000. Yeah, see, this came out in that time where covers like this were extremely common. I mean, yeah, this is just straight up comedy here. I mean, let's see. It's one of the goofiest hip hop albums covers in history, but rapper Lil Flip, who was a teenager, knew that parodying the Lucky Charms cereal box got the job done. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is corny. Yeah. I don't know if it's bad. See, I have a different view of what's bad. Bad is when the album people, the people who are putting out the cover, the people in the band, don't know that it's bad. I think Little Flip, even being a teenager, had to know this was bad on some level. He knew it was goofy. You know, a bad album cover is this: David Crosby. This asshole probably thought this was a cool cover, or that Queen cover. You know, that's a good example of a bad one. But Bon Jovi, "Slippery When Wet." Yeah, I mean, this is just boring. Um, I mean, I always thought, didn't this have a different cover? I think this had another cover, and then they went to this one. I always thought that "Slippery When Wet" was referring to pussy. Isn't it that supposed to be like a pseudonym for pussy or something? I don't know, but either way, this is a stupid cover. It is. Yeah, I guess I would agree. This is just dumb. Of course, the American public didn't think so. This album was huge in the United States. But yeah, it's a pretty boring, dumb cover. Billy Squier, Signs of Life. I mean, this is very representative of the mid '80s. I can't remember that artist, but everyone had those pictures on their walls in the '80s of this kind of shit. Um, yeah, he doesn't say the name of that artist, but there was that artist who there was that movement of like women, like what was it? I think Duran Duran's cover, I think their album Rio or something had that kind of image where it was like this super whited out, bleached out picture of a woman's face, but she'd have eyeshadow, dark eyeshadow on. Do you know the artist I'm talking about? Anyway, this is kind of reminiscent of that. Yeah, that's just a stupid cover. It looks like yeah, Billy Squire just looks like a fucking mime on meth or something. You just want to slap him. That's a dumb cover. You're right. It's stupid. I'm sure whoever made that thought it was really fucking high art, but it's just dumb. Anthrax, Fistful of Metal. I mean, come on. It's metal. I mean, it's the kind of shit they still do. Um, and Anthrax obviously has a keen sense of humor. I don't know. No, I don't know that I agree with this. It is what it is. This is all part and parcel of the metal scene. I mean, come on, leave Anthrax alone. There's nothing wrong with that. Another dude in the clouds cover. There's a lot of clouds. The guy who made this list obviously has a problem with clouds. Leo Sayer, Endless Flight. So talk about nightmarish. I mean, if you had endless flight, is this what you'd look like the entire time? I guess according to this guy, that's what would happen. First of all, you'd be flying with your feet out. I mean, most people think of Superman with their feet behind them, but not this guy. This guy leads with his feet. I recommend he cut his hair too if he's going to go into endless flight. Yeah, that's a goofy photo. I do remember this album cover. It's hard to get away from, but yeah, it's just the way what he's wearing too. He's got the suspenders and the white pants, and boy, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Love Beach. I mean, again, this was the '70s. All right. Do you know how many album covers? I think if you're gonna include this, you got to include a million others. Dudes with their shirts off, or dudes with only one button buttoned. I mean, this was just part of the scene, man. You can't mention one without mentioning a lot of others. I don't know. No, I don't agree. Yeah, okay. Van Halen balance. This is terrible. This is awful. I mean, you would expect this from Sammy Hagar era Van Halen. This is fucking terrible. 95, yep, they got caught up in that really horrible Photoshop nonsense. Wow, this is bad. What does it say here? This was the last of four Van Hagar albums. For extra ick factor, the twins roughly mimic the shape of the Van Halen logo. Are they? I guess. I don't know. I'm not even sure what that is. What is that covering their junk? What is that? Who cares? This is terrible. Awful. Yeah, this is the worst one yet, in my opinion. This is just lazy, lazy ridiculousness. This is fucking horrible. But it's Van Halen. I mean, what do you expect anymore? Yeah. Now, I will say I do like early Van Halen, David Lee Roth Van Halen. I think there's plenty. I'm not trying to make a comment on the talent of Van Halens. I mean, they obviously were incredible musicians, and David Lee Roth was a very entertaining entertainer, performer. There's plenty of original Van Halen that I do like, but Sammy Hagar, yeah, terrible. Terrible album from a terrible band with a terrible cover. And I've never heard the album, but I know it's terrible. Yeah, Chumbawamba, Tub Thumper. Yeah, I have to agree. I always thought that cover is just boring. I don't know if it's bad. It's just kind of dumb. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish there. That's just, yeah, I don't know. I think that's just a very simple, stupid cover. And it had one of the worst songs of all time on it. What was that song? I fall down, I get up again. Wasn't that the song? Fucking horrible. Yeah, Chumbawamba could fuck off. They're terrible, awful. That is a dumb cover. Yeah, you know what? I fucking knew this was going to be on this list. I knew it. Yeah, this just flies in the face of current wokeness. But it's hard to understand what the Scorpions were trying to do here. Are they trying to be funny? Um, I always thought it was interesting that the woman has no reaction in this photo. It's just she's just like whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Um, I remember as a little kid thinking, what the fuck's going on? And I guess now as an adult, I still have to think that, like, what is this? Maybe that was their goal. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. This has got to be in the bad list. Poor taste, questionable taste. What does it mean? Does it have any meaning? Would the Scorpions even be able to describe this cover? I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just a reason to show some titty. A different time, man. A different time. A different era. Orleans, waking and dreaming. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? This reminds me of that Pablo Cruz album. What was the name of the Pablo Cruz album where all the guys are they're all wet? They're soaking wet and they're all naked and they're hanging out. I don't know. It just goes to show that human beings really, really have a high opinion of themselves. I mean, look at this cover. Yeah, this is bad. Look at all the hair going on here. There's a lot of hair happening. Jesus. Was that a prerequisite? Like, we're going to take the photo shoot in a month. Let your hair grow out and let it get as wily as possible before we take this photo. And oh, yeah, take your shirts off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, these guys, well, whatever. Not an ounce of fat on these guys, or muscle, as a matter of fact. Yeah, there you go. Bob Dylan saved. Yeah, this is a fucking terrible, terrible. Bob Dylan was like a Christian for 4 seconds, and yeah, I mean, what can you say? This is one of the most boring covers of all time. I absolutely agree. This is a fucking awful cover, just bad. Dylan really went out of his way to be obnoxious for this. You have to think this was kind of like a fuck you to everybody to some extent, but wow, what a bad cover. All right, now come on. You leave the Bee Gees alone, man. Now, is this corny and cheesy? Sure, but it's the fucking Bee Gees, man. Cucumber Castle. There's nothing wrong with this album. The Bee Gees were a fucking great band. I think the Bee Gees are some of the greatest songwriters that have ever existed. So I guess I take a little umbrage with this, but um, yeah, is it dorky and cheesy? Sure. Bad? I don't know. Obviously, the Bee Gees were they had a sense of humor. They were making some kind of statement here. They were into medieval stuff, you know? I mean, it's cheesy, but bad? I don't know. I mean, I guess I can see someone calling it bad. I think it's just cheesy. Yes, going for the one. Well, I see yes, and automatically I think, yeah, this is going to be bad. Jesus. You know, I know Yes albums, and I don't remember ever seeing this. What the fuck? I do think it's kind of the lines across the cover are kind of interesting. It does represent something, the way the buildings are constructed. I think if they took the naked guy out of it, it would have been kind of a cool cover. But what's the naked guy about? Why do we need to see some dude's fucking man ass? Is that necessary? Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the man ass makes it bad, I guess. But take the man ass out and you've got something. And by the way, that is a firm stance I hold against all album covers. You add a naked man ass and you're automatically losing 100% of your cred. No need to see the naked man ass. Yeah, see, here we go, 98. This is what I was talking about. Trick Daddy. In the 90s there was thousands of these kinds of album covers. A friend of mine and I, as I've mentioned a million times before, I was a DJ and I'd get sent a ton of music from the record labels, and a friend of mine worked for a music distributor called Alliance Entertainment, and he would get tons of free stuff too, and he got tons of these shitty hip hop CDs. I mean, boxes and boxes of this crap, and people would buy it. People loved this stuff. I mean, these were big sellers. But look at this. I mean, just awful. These album covers, I mean, they came out by the day. These artists would make these really horrible rap albums, and they just fart out these horrible covers. And yeah, this is really stupid. And it is bad. This is just straight up bad. Thug.com. Trick Daddy has a number of horrible covers that are really funny. This wasn't the only bad one. David Allen Coe. Yeah, again, it's 70s, dude with shirt off. It's David Allen Coe, guys. Um, this is what you expect. I do think the conches are. It's funny. I don't think that I have some David Allen Coe stuff. I don't think I've ever seen these. I like the fake flame here. The flames are fanning his balls. That's interesting. You think that's a mistake? This little thing right here? Was that supposed to be some like sly mention that his junk is red hot and on fire? Who fucking knows? I have some David Allen Coe stuff. I have an album he put out. It's a mail order only album. I don't know that you can even buy it. We had a big discussion about this album at Discogs, whether or not we wanted to allow it to be sold in the marketplace. But he put out a mail order only album that's super racist and misogynist. I mean, it's awful, but it's funny. If you want to have a sense of humor about it, it can be very funny. We used to sell it in the Discogs marketplace, and when I worked there, we had a huge meeting about whether or not we wanted to keep allowing it to be sold. I thought it should have been. I was in the minority, though. Most people wanted to ban it from the marketplace, and it has been banned. And it's been banned for a long time. Those of you who know David Allen Coe, you know what album I'm talking about. I fought for it. Me and a couple of other people fought to keep that in the marketplace, but we lost. The uh, the staff at Discogs is very, very, very PC, very woke, very Gen Z. They did not appreciate my Gen X viewpoint of art. They didn't appreciate it at all. But anyway, David Allen Coe, come on, dude with his shirt off in the '70s. If you want to do a list about that alone, I recommend you do it. You won't have any shortage of content or material finding album covers with dudes with their shirts off in the 70s. Donny Osmond Disco Train. You know what? Leave Donny Osmond alone. I'm looking at this 19. This guy's got a problem with the 70s. He obviously hates disco. I don't know. This shit happened all the time in the 70s. It's Donny Osmond, okay? What do you expect? I think it's kind of funny. You think he's not trying to be funny here? Come on. Nah, I don't think so. No. What in the holy fuck is this? Capadonna Black Tarzan. Wow. Look at the half lion. He's taking a dump in the woods. This elk is thinking, what the fuck are you doing? This bear is about ready to eat his ass. This lion is yawning. This eagle's about ready to swoop down and pick up his shit and carry it back to his nest. Wow. This is a bold cover, man. Jesus. Wow. Yeah, this is horrible. What the fuck? Is this rap? What? Wu-Tang Clan rapper Capadonna did not take criticism. So we'll just say that on the. So I guess, yeah, I guess okay. He was being rap. I mean, it's hard to tell. Look, Jesus. Wow. Yeah, that is. I don't. Words fail me. Words fail me. We can only hope that his dump was painless and quick, and we can only hope that the bear mauling him was also painless and quick. I mean, that's the lion's just bored. He just wants to be done with this whole album cover shoot. And yeah, the elk's like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to hang out in my backyard, and this guy's taking a dump on my tree. What is this? Dolly Parton bubbling over. I don't know. It's Dolly Parton. I mean, come on. Leave Dolly Parton alone. I mean, it's funny. I don't know. I mean, if you know Dolly Parton, you know the woman's got a sense of humor. Obviously, she's trying to be goofy here. I don't know. I think you leave Dolly Parton alone, but okay, whatever. That's a questionable cover. It is what it is. Three Dog Night, Hard Labor. Oh shit. Oh, wow, there is a lot to unpack here. What the fuck is happening? So, what is that giving birth? Is that a woman? A woman with dinosaur feet? Is that a what is that a raptor giving birth to a record? Wow. The doctor on the right's got some tongs. What does it say here? Her offspring held with forceps is a vinyl LP. The public reaction was strongly and immediately negative. The record company promptly covered up the lower portion of the cover with a large Band-Aid style bandage so that nobody would think that giant mutant chicken creatures give birth to anything except baby mutant chicken creatures. Yeah, what are those feet? Like, what are they saying there? Does any of this make sense? Yeah, I can imagine people going to the record store in 1974 and being scared. And the 70s was the decade where anything went. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I don't know that I mean, it's Three Dog Night. I would think I'd have seen this cover before. I've never seen this. Wow, that is bad. Yeah, straight up bad. Horrible. Yeah, this guy, the look on his face, you can tell he's like, what the fuck am I doing in this photo shoot? How'd I end up here? How did my life lead me to this fucking moment? Yeah, oof, that is bad. Kanye West, The Life of Pablo. Yeah. I mean, it's Kanye West. Automatically, at least I think automatically that's going to be bad. Yeah, this is a terrible cover. This is awful. He's got a picture of what? Someone getting a family at a wedding and then a woman with a huge fat ass. Yeah, somehow in Kanye West's world that's a cool album cover. I suppose he's trying to be punk rock and he doesn't think anybody understands him or his art, and that's probably a good thing. I don't think there's much to understand there. I don't think Kanye West is all that interesting. I know plenty of people would disagree with me, but I just think he's a fucking bore, big mouth. His music is extremely lame. But you know, that's what the majority of at least American fans want. They want instantly forgettable, trashy music, and so you get instantly forgettable, trashy album covers. I mean, it goes hand in hand. Come on. Aretha Franklin, hey, yeah. Hey now, hey, the other side of the sky. I've always thought this cover is, yeah, I have to agree. I've always thought this cover, I love Aretha Franklin like we all do, but this is a bad cover. You look at it and it's like, um, yeah, it's like a bad dream. Maybe that was her goal. I don't know. It's just like, for anybody who appreciates art on some level, you look at it and it's not centered. Um, it doesn't have any juxtaposition. It's just like a lot of really obnoxious images that don't really represent anything all over the cover. Yeah, this is a tough one. Looking at this album, it kind of makes you sick. You just kind of feel queasy looking at this. You feel dizzy, and not in a good way. Oh, Ted Nugent. Okay. Love Grenade. Jesus. What the fuck? Oh, wow. Another cover that got pulled by the record company just before it was officially released. Naked model trussed up like a turkey. Was it having her served on a plate with enormous vegetables? Was it the grenade in her mouth? Yeah, I mean it's Ted Nugent. Again, do we expect anything less? But this is just bad. Uh, what's his message? Is this like a fantasy of his? He wants to. I mean, uh, it's hard to imagine Ted Nugent having much thought or ultimate direction in an album cover like this. Like, what's his artistic statement? Now, maybe it's just as simple as, I mean, to him, obviously, a hot naked woman being bound is represents love. A woman that looks like she's in pain and she's intensely not enjoying it with a bunch of vegetables around her, and then the grenade is obviously in her mouth. So yeah, that is an exceptionally bad cover. I think Ted Nugent probably he's a bit of a lunkhead, where he was probably just saying, "Hey man, this is my fuck you to society," but really this is just a terrible album cover. A bad album cover from a moron who makes shitty music. Yeah, that is bad. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Live It Up. So living it up, I guess living it up means that you live on the moon and you barbecue weenies all day. You know what? That doesn't sound like a bad idea, quite honestly. Yeah. Now, is it a weird, crazy, wacky, confusing cover? Sure. But think about it. If you were to have your paradise, wouldn't it not be on Earth? Maybe. And why not have some hot dogs? Yeah, it's a very perplexing cover. Is it bad? I guess. Okay. Number four, bad? I don't know. I think I've seen at least 20 others on this list that are worse. Okay. Okay. Creed, Weathered. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The dude who wrote this, you just redeemed yourself. Absolutely. Creed is just one of the worst bands of all time. They're fucking terrible. Awful band. Horrible band. Honestly, one of the worst bands of all time. If you ever had a moment where you liked Creed, you should be ashamed of your fucking selves. Terrible. And this album cover is fucking horrible. I remember seeing this at the time. Horrible. And it only makes sense for a band that is so supremely bad to have such a supremely bad cover. Absolutely. Look at these dickheads. The only thing this is missing is a dog pissing on this tree. That's what this cover needed. A dog with a severe bladder infection pissing and spraying all over this fucking tree. Fuck Creed. They're terrible. This band's awful. Terrible cover. Look at this guy. That was the picture that he decided would be the best representation of himself on a tree. Can you get the picture where I look bewildered and puzzled? Which is pretty much every photo ever taken of that fuck. God, what a horrible band. People loved these guys too. People couldn't wait to buy Creed albums back then. Yeah, fuck Creed. Okay. All right. Roger Daltrey, Ride a Rock Horse. Yeah, I think most of us know this cover, maybe. I don't know. Again, cheesy. It is extremely cheesy. Of course it is. It's also Roger Daltrey. I don't know. It's kind of hard to not like Roger Daltrey. He's a guy who's got a lot of joie de vivre, man. He loves life. He's got a great sense of humor. He's in one of the greatest rock bands of all time. You know, it was 1975. I'm sure he felt he could do anything, and he did. He put out this cover. I'm sure Daltrey is the first one to look back at this and laugh. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's bad. All right. But he's got a sense of humor about it. Again, I think bad should only be reserved for people who don't know their covers are bad. I think Roger Daltrey is fully aware that this cover's bad on some level, even then. He's a centaur, okay? Leave him alone. Okay, let's get to the number one. And I've been going for almost an hour, so this will be... Yeah, okay. Okay, fair enough. Limp Bizkit presents chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Abso-fucking-lutely. I agree. The fact he's got chocolate starfish as the title of his album, I do remember this. I remember seeing this album, chocolate starfish, hot dog. He thinks that's funny. This is just bad. You know what? I have to agree. This maybe arguably is the worst cover I've ever seen. From an even worse band. Fred Durst. Uber douche. But remember, people couldn't wait to buy this stuff. People were lining up in their droves to buy chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. They couldn't wait to buy crap like this. And you know who you are. There's got to be at least one person who stumbles upon my channel that watched or bought this album and enjoyed it and looked at this cover. Yeah, this is truly horrible. And just, yeah, again, the title, he thinks that's witty. He thinks that's funny. Yeah, I don't even understand this cover. Like, what? Okay, he's got the butthole on the starfish there. Ooh, that's funny. That's creative. I don't know. Yeah, Fred Durst is just he's a classic example of someone who pandered to the bottom rung of society when it comes to the record buying public. And there are a lot of those. There still are. You know, those types of people still buy records today. And, you know, 25 years from now, they'll look back at whatever's popular now and they'll laugh at it. I mean, it exists in any generation, but this is Mount Olympus level bad here. Yeah, I wish I could think of something funny to say about this, but this is just truly horrible. Yeah, I agree with this one. Okay, well there's the list. I mean, yeah, I think that was a pretty solid list of bad ones. Creed, I don't know. I think Creed maybe would have been the number one for me. Just the combination of suckage and suckitude from the band itself, coupled with this album cover, is boy, you can't lose in terms of horribleness when it comes to Creed. All right, there is Rolling Stone's top 50 worst album covers of all time. Not the greatest list, but it is Rolling Stone. When was the last time you respected anything Rolling Stone ever said? It's been a long time. At least it's been a long time for me. I can't imagine it hasn't been a long time for all of you as well. All right, I'm going to get out of here. And hopefully you can get some of these images out of your mind, because there were some disturbing images with some of these album covers. There's no doubt about it. No fucking doubt about it. But until next time, thanks for joining me. Bye.